Yes, welcome once again to another fantastic session. This is Sahu and you are watching SAHOO'S tutorial. In this YouTube video, I will be covering some important MCQ on African American literature. All major works will be covered in this video, and watch the video till the end because it's going to be a very fruitful session. This is the part 1. So let's get to the video. But before starting the session, I would like to request all of you please do subscribe my channel SAHOO'S tutorial and tap the bell icon to get more notification that I will upload in future. So here is the first question on your screen. Question number 1. Said in 1941, the story is about how she is consistently regarded as ugly due to her mannerisms and dark skin. As a result, she develops an inferiority complex which fuels her desire for the blue eyes she equates with whiteness. Name the novel. The Bluest Eyes, Sula, Song of Solomon, Beloved. So here the right option is The Bluest Eyes, that was written by Toni Morrison, the African American writer, the black writer here. Here Toni Morrison has written the novel The Bluest Eyes. In that novel, so there the character is now seeking for the bluest eyes. She equates herself with whiteness. So here the right option is The Bluest Eyes. Actually, all these are written by Toni Morrison. The Bluest Eyes, Sula, Song of Solomon, Beloved. These are all works written by Toni Morrison. Okay. Next question. Which African American writer wrote Playing in the Dark, Whiteness and Literary Imagination? Playing in the Dark, Whiteness and Literary Imagination. Toni Morrison, Zora Neale Hurston, Emily Baraka, Alice Walker. So the right option is here Toni Morrison. Toni Morrison has written the that is Playing in the Dark, Whiteness and Literary Imagination. Next question. Sula. Sula is an important novel written by which African American writer? Toni Morrison, Zora Neale Hurston, Emily Baraka, Alice Walker. So it was written by Toni Morrison. Toni Morrison had written Sula. It follows the life of Macon Milkman. It follows the story that is follows the life of Macon Milkman, grade 3, an African American man living in Michigan from birth to adulthood. The novel opens with the death of Robert Smith. So name the novel. Song of Solomon, Sula, The Bluest Eyes, Beloved. So it is actually Song of Solomon. Song of Solomon is in that novel you will get the character Milkman Date 3. The life of Macon Milkman. Okay. Next question. Ruth Date delivers her son, that is Macon Date 3, the first African American child born in a hospital. Which novel of Toni Morrison is referred here? Song of Solomon, Sula, The Bluest Eyes, Beloved. So here Ruth Date, Macon Date 3, all these characters appear in the novel Song of Solomon written by Toni Morrison. So here A is the right answer. Next question. Tar Baby. Tar Baby is a novel written by which author? Toni Morrison, Zora Neale Hurston, Emily Baraka, Alice Walker. Tar Baby is a novel written by Toni Morrison. So Toni Morrison is the author here. Has written Tar Baby. Who wrote Dante's trilogy? Dante's trilogy, and the trilogy consists of Beloved, and first one is Beloved. The second one is Judge, and the third one is your Paradise. So this Dante's trilogy consists of 3 novels here. That is Beloved, Judge, Paradise. So who wrote this Dante's trilogy? Toni Morrison, Zora Neale Hurston, Emily Baraka, Alice Walker. So here Dante's trilogy was written by Toni Morrison. So here E is the right answer. Look at here, the Dante's trilogy consists of Beloved, Judge, and Paradise. These are 3 novels that is within the Dante's trilogy. Next question. Which novel of Toni Morrison inspired from the life of Margaret Garner? Margaret Garner, an enslaved person in the slave state of Kentucky, who escaped and fled to the free state of Ohio in 1856. The novel won the Pulitzer Prize for fiction a year after its publication. And here the main protagonist is Seth, S-E-T-H-E. Seth is the protagonist of the novel, and she escaped slavery from a plantation called Sweet Home, and she lives in the house named 124. So these are the features. These are some clues were given. You have to identify which novel is this. Beloved, Jazz, Paradise, Song of Solomon. So here the Seth appears in the novel, that is Beloved. So Beloved, Jazz and Paradise, these are within the Dantesque theology, written by Toni Morrison, and it was inspired from the life of Margaret Garner, an enslaved person in the slave state of Kentucky who escaped and fled to the free state of Ohio in 1856. So it was inspired from the life of Margaret Garner. Okay, Beloved, where the main character protagonist is Seth. Okay, Zaz is a 1992 historical novel by the Pulitzer and Nobel Prize winning American author. Who is the novelist? Zaz. Zaz had also written by Toni Morrison. So here Toni Morrison is the right answer. Toni Morrison has written a play called Desdemona. Desdemona. Okay. Desdemona was also written by Toni Morrison. Next question. In which novel of Zora Neale Hurston, Jenny Crawford appears, who is a self-independent woman? Jonah's Guard. This is the first novel written by Zora Neale Hurston. Mules and Men. It was in collaboration. It was written in collaboration with Langston Hughes. Mules and Men. Moses, Man of the Mountain. It was also written by Zora Neale Hurston. And Their Eyes Were Watching God. So the character, that is Jenny Crawford appears in the novel Their Eyes Were Watching God. So this is the main protagonist of that novel, Their Eyes Were Watching God. It was written by Zora Neale Hurston. And other novels by Zora Neale Hurston are Jonah's Guard, Moses, Man of the Mountain. Okay. Who is the Afro-American writer or novelist who wrote Moses, Man of the Mountain? Zora Neale Hurston, Toni Morrison, Emily Baraka, Alice Walker. So here, Zora Neale Hurston has written Moses, Man of the Mountain. Next question. Zora Neale Hurston wrote a play called Mulebone. So it was a play called Mulebone, a comedy of negritude. Mulebone's its subtitle was a comedy of negritude, in collaboration with which Afro-American writer? Langston Hughes, Toni Morrison, Emily Baraka, Alice Walker. In the earlier question I have discussed, I have told that Mulebone and Comedy of Negritude was written in collaboration with Langston Hughes. Zora Neale Hurston had written this play in collaboration with Langston Hughes. So here A is the right answer. Next question. Which one is a non-fiction? Non-fiction work by Zora Neale Hurston. Barracoon, The Story of the Last Black Cargo. Mules and Men, Moses, Man of the Mountain. Their Eyes Were Watching God. No? So the first option, that is Barracoon, is the right option here. Barracoon is the non-fiction work by Zora Neale Hurston. Barracoon, The Story of the Last Black Cargo. Let's look at this explanation here. Barracoon, The Story of the Last Black Cargo, is a non-fiction work by Zora Neale Hurston. It is based on her interviews in 1927 with Cardo Lewis, last presumed living survivor of the Middle Passage. The book failed to find a publisher at the time, in part because it was written in vernacular, and also in part because it described the involvement of the other African people in the business of Atlantic slave trade. While 2 years later, female survivors were eventually discovered, and Kardjo remained the last to have clear memories of life in Africa before his enslavement and passage. So here, Barracoon is the non-fiction work by Zora Neale Hurston. Who coined the term womanism? Who coined the term womanism? Zora Neale Hurston, Emily Baraka, Alice Walker, Toni Morrison. So here, womanism, the term was coined by Alice Walker. Alice Walker has coined the term womanism. Next question. The term womanist was coined by the author and the activist Alice Walker within her 1982 publication, that is In Search of Our Mother's Gardens, Womanist Prose. So in which work Alice Walker coined the term womanist or womanism, that is In Search of Our Mother's Gardens, Womanist Prose. In addition to celebrating all women, womanists place a special focus on issues as specific to black women, men and families. So it was coined by Alice Walker. Next question. Which novel of Alice Walker has been described as Walker's meditation on the modern civil rights movement? Okay. Meridian, The Color Purple, Possessing the Secret of My Joy, Third Life of Grant Copeland. So the first novel, that is Meridian, a hill, and this novel is described as Walker's meditation on the modern civil rights movement. So the first option over here is right option. Right answer, Meridian. Next question, for which work Alice Walker got the Pulitzer Prize? Meridian, The Color Purple, Possessing the Secret of My Joy, Third Life of Grant Copeland. So he got the Pulitzer Prize for which work? It was The Color Purple. It was The Color Purple. For this work, Alice Walker got the Pulitzer Prize. The Color Purple. Okay. The Color Purple is an epistolary novel, picaresque novel, coming of age story, graphic novel. So the Color Purple is actually an epistolary novel, an epistolary novel. So A is the right answer here. Celia is actually Celia is a poor 14-year-old African American American girl living in rural Georgia in the early 90s. She writes letters to God and her sister Nettie because her father Alfonso beats and rapes her, resulting in two children. Name the novel. So Celia is the main protagonist, who is poor 14-year-old African American girl living in rural Georgia in the early 90s. Now she is writing letter to God because her father Alfonso beats and rapes her, resulting in two children. And what is that novel? Name the novel. Meridian, The Color Purple, Possessing the Secret of My Joy, Third Life of Grant Copeland. So it was The Color Purple where Celia appears. Celia is writing a letter to the God and her sister Nettie. And this is The Color Purple written by Alice Walker. And for that novel, Alice Walker was awarded with the prestigious Pulitzer Prize. Pulitzer Prize. Next question. In which novel of Alice Walker we find the lesbianism relationship between Sark Avery and Celia? So the characters like Sark Avery and Celia appeared in the work The Color Purple. So in The Color Purple, we find there is a lesbianism relationship between Sark Avery and Celia. Okay. Next question. Who wrote the collection of the novels called Uncle Tom's Children? Uncle Tom's Children. The title has been taken from actually that Uncle Tom's Children title has been taken from Harriet Beecher Stowe's novel, that is Uncle Tom's Cabin. Harriet Beecher Stowe's, that is Uncle Tom's Cabin. Uncle Tom's Cabin. And from this work, the title has been taken. It is Uncle Tom's Children. And it was written by whom? Richard Wright, Ralph Waldo Ellison, James Baldwin, Amory Baraka. So here, Uncle Tom's Children was written by Richard Wright. Richard Wright has taken the title from Harriet Beecher Stowe's novel, that is Uncle Tom's Cabin. So here A is the right answer. Next question. Who is the author of the novel called Native Son? The Native Son was written by Richard Wright, Ralph Waldo Ellison, James Baldwin, Amory Baraka. So here Native Son is another famous work written by the Afro-American writer, that is Richard Wright. A is the right answer here. Who wrote the essay I Chose Exile? I Chose the essay. Who wrote the essay called I Chose Exile? Richard Wright, Ralph Waldo Ellison, James Baldwin, Amory Baraka. So here the right option is A, that is A, Richard Wright. Richard Wright had written the essay I Chose Exile. Black Boy is a memoir. Black Boy is a memoir by American author that detailing his upbringing. He has also written the work that is The Outsider. Who is the author? Richard Wright, Ralph Waldo Ellison, James Baldwin, Amory Baraka. So here Black Boy is the memoir of the American author called Richard Wright. Richard Wright has written The Outsider, Black Boy, which is a memoir by American author. So here A is the right answer. Invisible Man, that is Ralph Ellison. Ralph Waldo Ellison's famous work, that is Invisible Man, is widely recognized as a masterpiece. It is also one of the finest examples of what kind of poetry? What? Science fiction? No. Picaresque novel? No. Coming of age novel? Crime thriller. So it is a coming of age novel, that is a Bildungsroman novel. That is a Bildungsroman novel. That is coming of age novel. So here C is the answer here. Ralph Waldo Ellison's Invisible Man is a coming of age novel or Bildungsroman novel. Next question. Incidents in the Life of a Slave Girl. Incident, the famous work, that is Incidents in the Life of a Slave Girl, published 1861 under the pseudonym Linda Brent, is now considered an American classic. Who is the author? Who is the author? So here Harriet Jacobs, Ralph Waldo Ellison, James Baldwin, Amory Baraka. So here Harriet Jacobs is the right answer. Harriet Jacobs has written Incidents in the Life of a Slave Girl, who published in the pseudonym Linda Branch. Next question. Slavery in the United States was abolished in 1865. In the year 1865, slavery was abolished. 1865 in the USA. We wear masks. We wear the mask is an 1895 poem by Ralph Waldo Emerson, James Baldwin, Amelie Baraka, Paul Laurence Dunbar. So the right answer here is Paul Laurence Dunbar. Paul Laurence Dunbar has written that is we wear the mask. We wear the mask. 28. The sport of the gods was written by Ralph Waldo Emerson, James Baldwin, Amelie Baraka, Paul Laurence Dunbar. So it was also written by Paul Laurence Dunbar. Paul Laurence Dunbar has written the sport of the gods. Bars Fight. Bars Fight, composed in 1746, is a ballad. About an attack upon two white families by Native Americans on August 25, 1746. It is considered the oldest known work of literature by African American, who is the poet of the poem. Lucy Terry, James Baldwin, Emily Baraka, Paul Donaldson. So Bars Fight was written by Lucy Terry. Lucy Terry has written Bars Fight, and Bars Fight is a ballad poem written by Lucy Terry about an attack upon two white families by Native American on August 25, 1746. The incidents occurred in an area of Deerfield called the Bars, which was a colonial term for a meadow. Facing It is a poem by American poet and author that deals with the topic of a Vietnam War. He has also written Neon Vernacular, Talking Dirty to the Gods. Facing It. Who is he? Yusef Komayenka, James Baldwin, Emily Baraka, Paul Laurence Dunbar. So the right option is here. Yusef Komayenka has written Facing It, Neon Vernacular and Talking Dirty to the Gods. Who wrote one of the most famous African American poems that begins with What happened to a dream deferred? What happens to a dream deferred? Etheridge Knight, Alice Walker, Martin Luther King Jr., Langston Hughes. So here Langston Hughes' poem is Harlem. That is Harlem. Harlem. In that poem, the first opening line is What happens to a dream deferred. So it was written by Langston Hughes. Let's look at this. Harlem is the name of the poem. Langston Hughes. What happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun, or fester like a soul and then sun? Okay. Next question. The genre of Octavia Butler's work, there is Bloodchild and other stories, collection of horror, science fiction, mystery, tragedy. So here Octavia Butler is famously known for science fiction. So here B is the right answer, science fiction. Next question. Kindred is a novel. Kindred is a novel by American writer that incorporates time travel and it's modeled on slave narratives. The book is the first-person account by young African American writer Dana, who finds herself being shunted in time between her Los Angeles, California home in 1976 and a pre-Civil War Maryland plantation. There she meets her ancestors, a proud black free woman and a white planter who has forced her into slavery and a concubinage. Who is she? So who is the author here? So who is she? Who is the author here? Octavia E. Butler, James Baldwin, Emery Baraka, Paul Laurence Dunbar. So Kindred is a famous work written by Octavia E. Butler. Octavia E. Butler is the right option here. Next question. Pattern Master, Mind of My Mind, Survivor. Their works by whom? Octavia E. Butler, James Baldwin, Emery Baraka, Paul Laurence Dunbar. Those were written by Octavia E. Butler. So A is the right option here. Next question. Alice Walker's novel often explored the abuse experienced by African American women. What is the only abuse that Shelley does not experience in the novel The Color Purple? Betrayal by her community. Yes, she was betrayed by her community. Betrayal by her sister. Her sister is Nettie actually. Nettie is her sister. NITT, who is in Africa living. Betrayal by the educational system. Betrayed by a family member. So she does not experience abuse. Only abuse Sally does not experience. So that is B. She was not betrayed by her sister. So here B is the right option here. Next question. In what way is Jean Toomer's Cane is an example of modernism? its fractured collage effect, its focus on landscape, its insistence on plot, its focus on modern city life. So it was because of its fractured and collage effect. So Jean Toomer has written the famous work that is a modern work that is Ken. Ken is a 1923 novel by noted Harlem Renaissance author Jean Toomer. The novel is structured as a series of vignettes revolving around the origin of and experience of African Americans in the United States. The vignettes alternate in structure between a narrative and prose poetry and play like passages of dialogue. As a result, the novel has been classified as a composite novel or as a short story cycle. The ambitious and non-traditional structure of the novel and its later influence on future generation of writers have helped Ken gain status as a classic modernism. Okay, and the poem opens with the line that I am a reaper whose muscles sit at sundown. The poem opens with this line that I am a reaper whose muscles sit at sundown. This is Ken. Ken. Next question. In Nila Larson's novel Passing, why is Claire afraid to have another child? She doesn't want to lose her figure. She almost died in childbirth with her first child. Her husband has threatened to leave her. No, she is afraid that it may have a dark skin baby. So D is the right answer here. Nila Larson's novel Passing. Let's look at this here. Passing is a novel by Nila Larson, here published 1929. The title refers to the practice of racial passing and its key element of the novel, Claire Kendrick's attempt to pass as a white for her husband. John Jack Berry is a significant depiction in the novel and catalyst for the tragic events. The story is written as a third-person narrative from the perspective of Erin Redfield, a black woman with a European or near European appearance who lives in the Harlem neighborhood of New York City. Next question. Quicksand is another novel written by Nila Larson. Nila Larson has written Quicksand, where the main protagonist is Helga Crane. The story's protagonist, Helga's mother was born in Denmark and her father was of West Indian descent. Helga is a young woman whose journey's purpose is finding a place where she belongs. Okay, so Helga Crane is a character from Quicksand. Up from Slavery is the 1901 autobiography of American educator. Who is he? Booker T. Washington, Amelie Baraka, Paul Laurence Dunbar, Nila Larson. So it was written by Booker T. Washington has written Up from Slavery. Okay. Its major themes are education, what it means to be your own person, industriousness, humility, the people's capacity for change, and poverty among the black population. So here, main themes are education. Education was the main thing. I believe that. So here, Booker T. Washington's message in Up from Slavery is white institutions should reform to meet African American needs. African Americans should acculturate to mainstream white culture. Whites should pay reparations to former slaves, or African Americans will have to help themselves by becoming educated. So here D is the right answer here. African Americans will have to help themselves by becoming educated. 41 in chapter 3. Booker T. Washington's Up from Slavery. Washington's primary goal is to get an education, to be clean, to get a job, to be a teacher. It is to get an education. To get an education was the primary goal of that novel Up from Slavery in chapter 3 written by Booker T. Washington. Next question. Alice Walker's story that is everyday use includes which woman is concerned. The importance of African religious influence in America. The negative consequences of feminism on African American family. The importance of men to the African American family. The importance of African American craftsmanship. So it was the negative consequence of feminism on the African American family. So B is the answer. The tragic mulatto myth led to the novels of Passing. The tragic mulatto myth led to the novels of Passing. Next question. The Mask in Paul Laurence Dunbar. The poem that is We Wear the Mask represents, what does that represent? The persona that the characters show the world, characters from the Bible, the court marks of African gods who the narrator wishes to be. So that mask represents the persona that the characters show the world. Next question. Neo-slave narratives are contemporary novels written about slavery. Toni Morrison's Beloved is about the ghost of a baby, the character said, and murdered to keep her from being recaptured by their master. The opening chapter of the novel represents the neo-slave narratives by its condemnation of the plantation myth, no, discussion of race relations in North and South, no, examination of the psychological damage of slavery, insistence on this is desegregation, no. So it was examination of the psychological damage of slavery. Next question. In Wayne Dolan or Gain Dolan, Brooks poem, that is kitchenette building, what is most important to the building's inhabitants? Having a bathroom with warm water, getting food on the table, following one's dreams, finding mate. So it is having a bathroom with warm water. Gain Dolan or Wayne Dolan's Brooks poem, that is kitchenette building. The narrator of Langston Hughes, that is Wary Blues. Wary Blues is describing what? The narrator of Langston Wary Blues is describing African American toasting on city streets corner, no? The call and response of an African American church segregation congregation, no? Negro spirituals being sung in the cotton fields, no? Blues being played in Harlem bar. So it was describing blues being played in Harlem bar. Describing here. 48. Desdemona is a play by Toni Morrison, Jordan Huston, Amelie Baraka. Desdemona is a play by Toni Morrison. Toni Morrison has written this play, this Desdemona. Next question. Who wrote Uncle Tom's Cabin? You know it is Harriet Beecher Stowe. Harriet Beecher Stowe has written that that is an indictment of slavery. That is Uncle Tom's Cabin. So to wind up this session, let's move to question number 50. Who has written the novel 3 days before shooting? So it was written by Ralph Waldo Ellison, Richard Wright, James Baldwin, Neil Larson. So here Ralph Waldo Ellison has written 3 days before shooting. Who has also written the novel? That is the Invisible Man, which is a coming of age story. So thank you once again for watching this video. Stay tuned with my channel SAHOO'S Tutorial and do not forget to subscribe my channel because my hard work deserves all this. So in tomorrow's video I will be covering another 50 important questions of Afro-American literature. Thank you.